There we go. So we're recording now. Okay. Oh, we've got more on. Okay, I think everybody's muted. So that's awesome. I'm so excited that you're all on this call because I've done one of these workshops a couple of weeks ago and I absolutely loved it, and my clients really loved it as well. And they learned heaps, and one of them's, she's totally changed the way she's done her makeup. So it's a really great little addition to our repertoire of workshops. Right, okay. So first of all, to tell you how I set everything up, so what I did in front of each guest, I had a brush set per guest. So I've just built up a number of brush sets over, the last couple of months by usually using host rewards. So I think ideally everyone would have their own brush set, but if you don't have enough, you could do one between two, but you just need to be a little bit mindful about sterilisation, and I can give you some information on that shortly. And now I had a mirror as well in front of everybody, and I had a little spatula. I've got those like quite a few from a long time ago. I think they're a bit hard to get now, but just something so that you can use a couple of products and not having to dip fingers in. So that's what I had set up in front of everybody. And then for form, so I had some slide handouts, and I'll be showing you pictures of those shortly. Some colour charts. Now, I was lucky enough to pick up this book. So this is a Ray Morris book. She's an Australian makeup artist. This is a $40 book that I was able to pick up for $5. So that was, really lucky for me. And there's some colour charts in there about choosing eyeshadow colours based on your eye colour. And so I was lucky enough to get that, but I reckon there is so much stuff online. You could just do a Google search and find, like I've done it recently just to see what else there was besides this book, and there's so much information on there. So just, pick a reputable website or that seems, like they know what they're talking about, and just get some colour information off there. And, if you can't get hold of a book like this. I also had the customer care and the order forms. And then I also had the Hollywood Glamour and Beauty on the Run forms, because as we know, our guests, they really appreciate being able to, for us to put together packs for them. I think it just makes it easier for them and easier for them to know where to start. And you'd also have your results pack. I didn't have that out when I did my workshop. I just had it tucked away. But, you would have those on hand as well. Okay, and in front of me, I had my own brush set. I had my little notes here. This is the file that I uploaded to our Facebook page earlier. I had my own mirror and I had my own makeup kit. And what I had on when everybody arrived, I had done some of my makeup, but I hadn't really done my eyes. I think I just had some eyeliner and mascara on, and then I had my own makeup kit so that I can demonstrate eyes when I got to that part of the workshop. And what you need on the table, so in the centre of the table, I had the products in order of use, just to make it nice and simple for everybody. You'll need a little bin or a container of some description, because you do accumulate a fair bit of rubbish, so cotton buds and cotton pads and that sort of thing. I know Officeworks has those little itty-bitty bins, so something like that could be good. I just had a Tupperware container, I think. You'll need cotton buds and cotton pads.
You've got some good stuff about him, but it looks like a player who's playing under
somebody there.
He's trying really hard, but it's just not working.
And it's also handy to have eye makeup remover, because not everybody's going to get their eye makeup right the first time, and that's totally okay. So you can have some eye makeup remover on standby just in case, they want to take it off and start again. And as I mentioned before, antibacterial spray or Medi-Swabs is what I've got. I've actually got both of those things. So Medi-Swabs, I got them from the chemist. It was about $7 for 200 swabs. So they're, they're a really handy and probably a really necessary thing to have in your kit. And particularly if you're using one brush between two, it's really important that people clean up their brushes before they pass them to the other person, because you just don't know if someone's got a cold sore coming or if they've got conjunctivitis or something like that. And the good thing about these, because they've got alcohol in them, when you sweep the brush over them, it dries really fast, so you're not going to be holding anybody up. They usually dry in under a minute. And, the best way to do that is to get your brush and you just rub it like that. And then that way it's, it's going to be nice and sterilised for the next person to use it. I didn't need to do that because I had a brush set each, but if you don't, then you really should get some of those Medi-Swabs. And I had some cups in the middle of the table. So I had all my disposable brushes and, some people, you can put pens in there, or some people put pens in front of the forms, however you normally set that up. But you'll need a couple of cups there just because there's, for your cotton buds or cotton pads, that kind of thing. And next slide. There we go. There's a picture of how I had it all set up. So the only thing that's missing at that stage, I didn't have a little container, and it became obvious pretty quickly that you need something like that on the table to get all the rubbish that builds up. Okay, now the workshop. So the first thing I did, just like with the Swiss Beauty Workshop, is I started in the bathroom. Now, it's really important to do that because this is where you start to build rapport with your guests and you get to understand some of their needs. So whether they've got some issues with their skin, and or anything, any sensitivities, anything that you need to be aware of as the consultant. And also this is where you can also get to know them a little bit more, and that could help you later on if you uncovered some needs or identified some needs where the business could be a good fit for them. So the only difference that from this workshop to a Swiss Beauty Workshop is I did the full RE9 routine in the bathroom. In our Swiss Beauty Workshop, we just do the 3 products and then we do the rest in the workshop. I just did the full routine in the bathroom. I did my normal welcome that I normally do, and I told my story. So it's really important in whatever workshop you do to tell your story, because that's how you really connect with your guests, and your ideal consultant might be one of the guests there, and generally your ideal consultant is going to be you 12 months ago. So your story is going to help them connect and see that this possibly could be something for them. So it's still really important to tell your story. And I also did a recap from the Swiss Beauty Workshop, because some of the people at your workshop might be already have been to a Swiss Beauty Workshop or an EBS, or they might be completely new to Arbonne. So it's really important to talk about, just to give an overview of Arbonne and why it's so different and why it's so special. So I gave them the information about why Arbonne's only sold through consultants and it's not sold in stores. And, that's about educating and providing great service. And also if we were to sell it in stores, it'd be super, super expensive. I then talked about the catalogue, about, we don't pay models to be in there. There's the 45-day money-back guarantee. And then I gave an overview of our history, so how it's a district in Switzerland and it means beautiful tree and it's been around since 1980, and about our strong environmental stance. So I gave all that recap there. And then I just talked about those 3 main points of difference that we talk about in the Swiss Beauty Workshop. So how, A, it's affordable, things like because of our direct selling model, because we don't pay a Hollywood celebrity, because we don't advertise, and also because we can offer guest discounts. So all these things make it very affordable. The second point being it's that powerful combination of nature and science. And then the third point of difference is that it's cruelty-free, it's vegan certified, it's gluten-free, we don't contain petroleum byproducts or animal byproducts. So I think it's really important to recap that, especially for those who have never heard of Arbonne and will be thinking, what is it about this range that makes it so special? So that's how I began the workshop. I talked about the brush set. So so as I said, everybody had their own brush set in front of them, and I talked them about, it's really important to have a good brush set and how Arbonne's is really good quality. We've got some Arbonne consultants who are also makeup artists, and they really recommend our brush set. And it's synthetic and it's a great price, like $50 for 10 brushes. And some of those brushes are really versatile. And as you'll see as I go through, you can use one brush for 2 or 3 different functions. I also talked about why we did the RE9 range first. And as we all know, good makeup starts with good skin. So you need to skin that's well cleansed and well hydrated. And once you've got that, you're ready to go. And I just gave some general info, and the two points that I talked about was, and only very briefly, was that the purpose of makeup is always to create lift, because as time goes on, gravity's going to start to try to drag everything down. So everything we do with makeup is about creating lift. And also that the general rule of thumb is that you accentuate eyes or you accentuate lips, not both. So if you're going to do really bold coloured eyes, you'd keep a more neutral lip, and vice versa. And I reckon as time goes on, I might add a few more points under that general info, but that's what I did to start with. Now, I started everybody by getting them to put their lip saver on, and that's where I use the spatula, because obviously we can't have people smearing it on their lips. And that way that it's nourishing their lips, and by the time we get to the lip part, they've got beautiful nourished lips ready to put their lippy onto, or their lip gloss if that's what they're into, their lip polish. And then we started with the primer. So for this, I use the precision brush. So the precision brush is the third biggest brush, the third brush along in the brush set. And I talked about how most people, I'm sure we all put our primer on with our fingers, but the purpose of this workshop is to show people some alternatives and different ways of doing it, and also how to really utilise the brush set. So we did it by putting the primer on using the precision brush. So they've got a bit of pump of primer on the back of their hand, and then dab the brush in and dab it onto the face, and then using circular motions to blend out. So you focus on the middle part of the face and then use circular motions to blend out. And it's a bit of a different experience putting on with the brush, because, you know, when we put it on with our hands, it just feels so beautiful, and it's, you know, you can just feel how well it's going on. So with the brush, you sort of, initially it doesn't feel like you're putting any on, you can't tell, but it definitely is going on, because you can feel it afterwards. But you know, it might be good to point that out to people who are already using our primer, that it does feel a little bit strange initially. And what I did, just a side note, before I did my workshop, I actually ran through this and pretended that I was a guest. So I did everything as per I'd done it here, just to make, you know, so I could feel how it felt and to make sure everything worked really well. So that might be a good thing to do before you do it in front of guests. Then, excuse me, I just want to check to make sure, oh good, just want to make sure everybody was hearing me okay. Then foundation. So I moved on to foundation. I've got about 6 or 7 colours, and I had those all in the middle. So some of your clients may already know what colour they are if they're current clients, and other ones you're going to have to go around and colour match them. So, and you can explain to them, you know, how our foundation's got medium to full coverage and a matte finish, and or if they'd like to try the CC cream, that's light to medium coverage and it's got a bit more of a dewy finish. And again, we used the precision brush. So put some foundation on the back of your hand. Now, one of my guests put about 2 pumps, and she had absolutely loads, and it looked a little bit caked on. So just keep an eye on how much people are putting on. Like, really, you don't even need a whole pump of our foundation when you've got the primer on. So just, you know, sort of get them to do a pretty, you know, just maybe a pump or a little bit less than a pump. Then you get them to dab the brush in and get them to blob it. So dab on cheeks, nose and forehead. So again, focusing on the center of the face. And you don't want too much around the jawline. You know, that's where it sort of needs to be blended out too. So you don't need to put a heat down there. And then you move the product around with sweeps and blend with a circular motion. So it gives a bit of a different finish when you use a brush as opposed to using your fingers. It sort of looks a little bit airbrushed or something like that. And I think this is what most makeup artists do. They use their foundation brush. So that's usually a fair bit of laughter and, you know, going on at this stage, and it's just really good fun. And so, you know, so they're blending in their foundation, and then we move on to, once everybody's happy and they've got their foundation on, we move on to bronzer. So a cool little trick that we do with bronzer in this workshop is about contouring. So you get the second largest brush, so your blush brush, and we're dabbing it into our bronzer, and then you're actually putting it under the cheekbone. And by putting it under there, it's creating some contouring. So we're putting it in there, dabbing it on, and then you just use a circular motion to blend it. So once you've done that on both sides, then you go down the down the nose, then down the chin, and then a little bit around the hairline. And then you can, you know, put some here as well, just to tie your neck to your face. And me personally, I also put it on my neck. And then I've just got, you know, nice, even, everything blends in with each other. There's no, you know, not white bits, you know, that look a little bit out of place. So that's the process we use in this workshop. I'm sure there's lots of fancy tricks we can do with bronzing, but this is what we do, or this is what I did in the workshop. And then we move on to blush. So we, again, we use the same brush, so the second biggest brush, and then you dab it into your brush. So it's important to tell your guests, don't do this with any of your colours, because all you're doing is flicking product everywhere. So we're dabbing in like this, and then you can smile to find your apples, but it's important not to be smiling while you're putting it on, because you're going to really accentuate if you've got, you know, if your guests have got crow's feet or fine lines. So you can do a bit of a smile just to see where your apples are, and then we're putting on and sweeping upwards and outwards. So you know, in a sweeping motion to blend out. So we're going to have bronzer and we're going to have blush, but because we're blending really well, it's not going to be obvious lines, and it's going to, it's just going to sit really nicely together. So they've put all their blush on, they're looking fabulous, and then we move on to the Sheer Glow highlighter. So this is a product that maybe lots of our clients haven't used. So what we do with this is we're going to put it on the back of our hands. So as we know, the Sheer Glow highlighter, you don't need loads and loads. So do a little squirt on the back of your hands, and we're back to our precision brush. So it's really good to point out how versatile this brush is. Like, this is the third product that we're putting, that we're using. So it's it's really good to point that out to our guests. So we put, so we've got a little bit of Sheer Glow highlighter on the back of our hand, and you dab in your precision brush, and we're just putting it here. So sort of on this, like I guess on this bone up here, right on the top of your cheekbone, and dabbing it around and going up just over the eyebrow. So you put it on here, so you dab it on, then you can sweep it round. Now, because our highlighter doesn't have too much shimmer, it's not going to accentuate lines and pores as some products can that have got too much shimmer. Like, it's a good balance between shimmer and matte. And what that does, by putting it there, that's the high points of your face. So the light's going to catch it, and this is where we talk that getting that lift that I was talking about before. And you can put a little bit down your nose and on your chin. You don't need to add extra for that. It's just whatever's left on the brush, just a little bit down there and a little bit there. And that's a really fab little trick, and the girls at my workshop absolutely love that. That was something they had never done before and had never really heard of. So that's a cool little trick. And so now we've got 3 products. So we've got bronzer, we've got blush, and we've got highlighter. But again, we don't have those obvious lines. Everything's, everything is blending in really well together. Right, next we move on to eyebrows. So this is where I had a handout. Now, eyebrows, it's really important. Eyebrows really frame your eyes, and the wrong eyebrow shape can totally change the way that you look. Now, most people don't have the perfect eyebrow, like in this picture here. Most people don't have that. If you're my mum's kind of age, they pluck their eyebrows into oblivion. So it's, most people aren't going to have it, but you can demonstrate to people what the perfect eyebrow is. And the perfect eyebrow, if you just show your guests, so if you have, so you can have like a cotton bud, works really well for this. I'll use one of that. Here we go. I'll use this one. So the corner of your nose here and to the corner of your eye. So you'd hold something like that. So corner of your nose into the inner corner of your eye, and where it is at the top, that's your starting point. And then again, corner of your nose to the outer corner of your eye, that line there, that's your end point. And then for your arch, the highest point of your eyebrow, corner of your nose, and to about in the middle of your pupil, or slightly to the outside of your pupil, that's where your highest point should be. So that's how our eyebrows are, or how they should be. And if your guests don't have eyebrows anything like that, you can help them to create something that's similar. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. First of all, you can get the slanted brush, a little slanty brush, and depending on their colouring, like a cocoa is a pretty good colour. Unless you're really blonde, it might not be good, but cocoa is a good colour. And the best way to do it is to get the cocoa, draw it on the back of your hand. So draw, sort of scribble it like this on the back of your hand, get the slanted brush, dab it in, and then they can just fill in their eyebrows. Now, it takes some practice. They're probably not going to get it right first time. I know I certainly didn't. But it's just a bit of fun, and just encourage them and just tell them it doesn't matter if it looks wrong. And this is where we've got our eye makeup remover, so it all goes wrong, you just take it off and do it again. So that's, one little way you can sort of be showing them how to draw that shape. And the other way as well is to use eyeshadow. So you could get this little brush, so the smaller application brush, and sand, I find, is a good eyeshadow colour, depending on your colouring, of course. Not if you had jet black hair, it probably wouldn't be that good. And so you can dab a little bit in sand and then just sort of help to fill in. You'd probably do that if you had fairly good eyebrows and you're just sort of helping to fill in, just to really fill it in. So that's what you can cover off with regards to eyebrows. And they really liked that information about how to, to get that perfect eyebrow shape. Your eyebrows, a makeup artist will tell you eyebrows should match your hair colour. And I think we've probably all seen people who maybe have really dark hair and really light eyebrows, or vice versa, and it just doesn't look quite right. And it's recommended to get your eyebrows professionally shaped. Like, that's how obviously you're going to get the best shape. Now, eyeshadow. Now, this is where it all gets a little bit interesting. So as I said before, I've got this book, which I photocopied some pages from it, so the colour charts. And you could, something else you could do actually is go to somewhere like Bunnings and get the colour wheel. And that could be something that you show people in terms of, like, if you really want to make your eyes stand out, you use an opposite colour on the colour wheel. So for me, I've got sort of hazily green eyes, so purples look good on me. And also my little book, my Ray Morris book, showed me that you know, the colours that work best. And also neutrals. Neutrals work on everybody. Everybody's eyes suit neutral. So if people were a little bit anxious about trying some different colours, you know, they could always just stick to smoke and linen and Java and those kinds of colours. Now, I had another handout here. So this picture is all over the internet, but I mean, I'll share these slides with you anyway. But it just shows you, I know it's a little bit small to see there, but it just shows you, depending on your eye shape, where you apply eyeshadow, so where you do the darker colours. And that was really handy. And the important thing to remember, and just to you know, encourage your guests, it doesn't matter if they get it wrong. It just doesn't matter. It's all about practice. I had a lesson with a makeup artist, and she showed me how to do my eyes, and the first few times I did it, I didn't get it right. It just didn't look right. And then after maybe, you know, 3 or 4 days of practicing, you know, 3 or 4 times, I mean, I got it right. And, you know, I knew it was similar or close enough to what she told me. So really encourage your guests. Doesn't matter if you get it wrong, don't stress about it. And that's where the eye makeup remover can come in handy. With my guests, I had 3 ladies. 2 of them did really well and 1 of them didn't quite get it right. So we just gave her the eye makeup remover, lots of encouragement, just have another go at it, maybe try some different colours. And you just tell them it's all about practice. Just keep practicing when you get home. Now, the important thing again, so we're using the larger brush there. So that's the larger eyeshadow brush. So I like to use a wash. So that's where you get a colour like linen or sand or vanilla. And again, dabbing in, we're not flicking it like that because you're just going to flick the colour everywhere. So dabbing it in. And this is actually, I demonstrated this. As I said before, when my guests arrived, I just had eyeliner and mascara on. So I demonstrated the eyeshadow. Oh, sorry, I forgot to point out something really important. I always put concealer on my eyelids first. I find if the eyelids are really oily and if I don't put some sort of priming product on there, then it gets your eyeshadow creases. So concealer works fantastically, and I've used our Arbonne concealer at 6 a.m. and my eyeshadow hasn't creased when I go to bed at night. So that's a really great product for stopping that creasing. So I've got my larger brush here and I've got linen on, and so you just put that, so we're not flicking because then we're going to flick it everywhere. It's sort of pushing and moving. So that's what I do. And for me, I take it all the way up to my eyebrow bone, because those colours are very light, so it's not going to look too, like you've got too dark eyeshadow all over your eyelid. Then I got the same brush, and I use smoke in the crease. Now I've noticed I had a little something that came up at my workshop when I talked about putting it in the crease. One of my guests thought that meant you only put it in the crease and you can't see it outside that. So she wanted to use the little slanty brush because she thought, this brush is too big to put it in the crease. But of course, when we put it in the crease, we also want it, when you open your eyes, that you can still see that colour. So I've got some smoke on. So that's something that might come up for you. They, a bit confused that this brush seems to be too big to put it in the crease, but this is the brush to use. So I put smoke in the crease. And then the darker colours, and this is where that picture will come into it a little bit. So then you get the smaller brush. So that one that's disappeared, rolled. Oh, here we go. So the smaller application brush there. And then you use a darker colour. So I normally use Java or chocolate on the outer edge. And depending on their eye shape, they will follow this picture. So for me, I've got small hooded eyes. So I put a darker colour right up quite high on my brow bone there, on my eye bone, whatever you call that bone. And dabbing it like this, remember, not flicking it, and then sort of pushing it on like this. So you can, if you want to, if you're comfortable, you could demonstrate this, or if you'd rather just get them to refer to the picture, you could do that as well, whatever you're comfortable with. Where am I up to? Yeah, so it's really important. Oh, you still there? Oh, there we go. I just, oh, okay, I've got 10 minutes. I've just been told, right. Okay, so we're really important to blend so we don't have any harsh lines. Can you all still hear me okay? Oh, cool. No, that's good. Just wanted to make sure you can hear me. I've only got about 10 minutes left, so I'll go a bit faster. Yeah, so it's really important to blend, blend, blend. If it goes too high, like if you're getting some darker colours up here, just wipe it off with your finger. White on the inner corner of your eye can really help to open your eye. So if you've got the colour snow, that you could put a little dab in there, that helps to open your eyes. Now there's a little trick that we can do that is really cool. So you get the lip brush. So that's this one. And get a little bit of concealer. And you only want a tiny bit. One of the girls at my workshop, she put absolutely loads on. All you want to do is put the tiniest bit of concealer. So you got your little concealer container, tiniest bit, and then you push it. Trying to see in the light. So see the high point there, push it. So you're sort of pushing it on, just on that part there, and then you just sort of blend it in very gently with your finger. So this is a really great little trick for sort of defining and highlighting that top part of your, the high point there of your brow. And then what I also do is get a little bit of Sheer Glow highlighter and put that over the top. So that just is a little trick for just sort of highlighting and lifting and, defining your brow. Now we go into eyeliner. So eyeliner scares people sometimes, I think. If you've got small hooded eyes like mine, you have to do something called tight lining. So this is what you can be explaining to your guests. So tight lining, so it's doing the thinnest line that you can. So for me with my eyeliner, really, really tight. So basically you're drawing a line over your lashes rather than, doing a thick line. If you've got lovely big eyes, then you can get away with, doing a much bigger line. Oh, I keep losing my video. Can you... Oh, okay. Hopefully, can you all still hear me okay? I keep losing my video. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. Anyway, I don't know what's going on, but hopefully you can all still hear me okay, because things are looking a little bit strange on my screen. Things are flashing on and off all over the place. Okay, so eyeliner. So because we got to be careful about bacteria, the best way to get your guests to use eyeliner is to get them to put the eyeliner, run it on the back of their hand like we did with our eyebrows, and then again use the slanted brush, and they can just put eyeliner on using the slanted brush, okay? Sorry, I'm just reading my notes here. Push into lash line. Yep. Okay. And another thing to point out is that eyeliner takes practice. So, it doesn't matter if they don't get it right on the day, just keep practicing and tell them it's best to practice when they don't have to rush out the door, like when they've got some time. All right, mascara. Now, I have to say that I was initially thinking, I was thinking that you couldn't put mascara on without an eyelash curler. And I have done this for as long as I can remember. However, I have just recently discovered that Arbonne's mascara is that good, you don't need an eyelash curler. So the best way to put mascara on that you can demonstrate to your guests is at the base, right at the base, and wriggle and pull out. So that way you're going to get volume and lift. Now we don't need volume on the lower lashes. So the best way to do it, I find, so, obviously we're not pumping our mascara, twirling the mascara and putting it right on the base and wriggling up, and then dipping into your container again and doing the same thing. And then just what's left on the brush, that's how I do my lower lashes. So we don't need volume on the lower lashes, and, that just use what's left over on the brush. Some people don't even do mascara on their lower lashes. So these are all the things you can experiment with your guests. Now, lipstick. Oh, there's my eye colour chart that I was showing, that I sort of held up the book for before. That's what I was showing my guests. Now, if your guests want to use lip liner, again, do the pencil on the back of the hand and use the slanted brush. You might need to just use one of those medi swabs just to clean the eyeliner off the slanted brush, and then they'll be able to use it on their lips. And then lipstick. I've got all these things flashing up telling me I haven't got much time left. Lipstick, so obviously with not being able to share lipstick, so you'll have lots of disposable lip brushes on hand. And I find with lip liner, well, a good little trick to tell your guests is that lipstick has much better staying power if you do lip liner and then fill your lips in with that lip liner, and then you'll find that your lipstick has better staying power. And another little trick to tell your guests is to get the like your pressed powder, and to sort of put that over your lips before you put the lip liner on, and that can help with lipstick bleeding. So that's another little trick that you can pass on, and that's what I do all the time. I think I've covered that part there. And then and a little trick that is to set with RE9 toner. So apparently I didn't know this before I did this workshop, but one spray of RE9 toner can help set makeup. So there's a little trick that you can do with your guests. Now, to close the workshop, I did it, you know, with it as the same as a Swiss Beauty workshop. So talked about, you know, the preferred client program and hosting a workshop and all that sort of thing, the usual thing. But I just had the 2 cosmetic packs that I talked about, and only very briefly because we don't want to bombard people with too much choice, because confused people don't make decisions. And then I also like to do this. Now, I know not everybody does, but I like to explain to my guests about the credit card pending amount, you know, with consolidated shipping. If, you know, say if someone just buys a lipstick and their card will initially be charged the full shipping amount, so it'll show $10, but then obviously once the host order goes through, it readjusts itself down. I like to explain that to people because I have had a couple of people, you know, go, oh my goodness, I can't believe it was $10 shipping, and I just reassure them that it won't be that in the end. So that's something I always explain to people, and I explain about consolidated shipping, how it all comes in one box, and that, you know, that saves. That's how people are able to save on shipping. Now, this is where I got a lot of my information, or the basis of this workshop, is from a YouTube clip from someone called Brittany Coleman. Now, she's a professional stylist and an Arbonne consultant. So if you jump on YouTube, that's the link, but I'll post it onto our Facebook page, or on YouTube you could just search, type in Easy Everyday Flawless, and Brittany's video should come right up at the top. Also, do a Google search on eyeshadow colour wheel and eye shapes eyeshadow, and you'll bring up some of those things that I was talking about before. And, you know, they're good little pictures and good little things that you can refer to just help build up your own knowledge. And I think it's just practice, practice, practice. Like, that's what I've been doing, is just getting, when my friends are around, practicing on them, so that you just get comfortable with different eye shapes and different colours. And you know, when most of us aren't makeup artists, so nobody, oh, I think I've lost you all. Can you all still hear me? Because I think that, let's see. Oh, good. Okay. So I'm not sure. I've only got oh, there we go. I've got 2 minutes 13 left, so I can just wrap it up. I think that was all anyway. That was all my slides. So that's how I ran the workshop. It was really awesomely fun. I absolutely loved it, and I want to do lots and lots and lots of them, and I've already got a few more booked in. So if you have any questions, just put them on the Facebook page. Very happy to answer them. Or if we've still got a couple of minutes, or we've got 1 minute 47. So if you've got any questions, put them in the chat box, and I'll be able to answer them quickly. And if the meeting cuts off, just put them on the Facebook page, and I can answer questions on there. And I've got a dry mouth from talking so much. But I think, you know, the thing about makeup is it's practice and confidence. So don't feel that you know, if you don't know the answers to the questions that your guests are asking you, just, you know, you just guide them, just, you know, tell them where they can find some more information, or that you'll get that information for them and you'll come back to them. So that's what, you know, take the pressure off yourself by thinking that you have to have all the answers. Okay, well, I think we're just about to get booted off. So thank you all so much for joining me. Oh, yeah, no, thanks for that question, Lara. I know they're being discontinued, and no, there's no information. All I know is that they're coming in July. So I don't know what the new brush set's going to be like, but apparently, according to Arbonne, it looks like it's going to be even better. But I've still got the old ones. Like, I've got 6 sets, I think, or five or six. And I think they're fantastic. So anything better than that to me is a bonus. So, yeah, so I guess we'll all know. So please, I would really love to hear how your workshops go. So let me know. And I'll say good night now. Mwah. Bye, everybody.